warning bell now ringing. On Wall Street, everyone's happy, they're waving, they're pushing that button.
Over at the Nasdaq, it's Faze Clan, which is an esports and entertainment organization.
In July 2022, Faze Clan went public in a SPAC deal which valued the esports organization at $725 million. This was already a reduced valuation compared to the original target of $1 billion set by Faze Clan's management. However, just a little more than a year since its stock market debut, Faze Clan announced it is going to sell itself to Game Square in an all-stock deal which values the company at $17 million, or about 2% of the value of the original SPAC deal. While Faze Clan suffered from extremely poor management, it can be considered a testament to the unprofitable business of esports. In fact, despite once being touted as the future of entertainment, it is not hard to see that esports organizations around the world, even the most successful ones, are having a tough time. In today's video essay of The Intersection, we are going to dive deeper into the economics of esports organizations, and why achieving profitability is mission impossible. But before that, I hope you can spare a few seconds to click the like button on this video and subscribe to our channel. The Intersection publishes content every week, in which we will talk about a wide range of topics, from politics, economics to business and culture. How esports organizations make money. Most esports organizations these days run two different businesses under the umbrella of one. On the one hand, they take part in competitive gaming, making money from tournament prizes. On the other hand, they are an advertising and media agency, making money from sponsorships, media rights and event tickets. Contradicting conventional wisdom, esports organizations are more of the latter than the former. Look at the 2022 annual report of Astralis Group, a Danish one for example. While sponsorship accounts for 46% of its revenue, league revenue, prize money and sales of digital goods account for 42% in total. Competitive gaming. The salary of the players, coaches and analysts in esports organizations are typically recorded as cost of services, which is a similar treatment to the more well-known cost of goods sold in manufacturing or retail businesses. In many cases, this cost exceeds the amount of revenue that an esports organization can generate. For example, the Korean esports organization T1, most famous for having the renowned player, Faker, in its League of Legends roster, made a total of about $625,578 in tournament prize money in 2023. The majority of which came from it winning the World's Championship, the biggest tournament of the title. However, the rumored annual salary for Faker alone is already over $7 million. In addition, the players often take most of the prize money, with the reported common revenue split of 80-20 between the players and the esports organization. As a result, T1 only receives an estimated $125,000 from its share of tournament prize money, only a fraction of Faker's salary, let alone other players in the team as well as the coaches and analysts. You might wonder, for something of that popularity, esports tournament prize pool should be more lucrative. But reality is the opposite. For example, the total prize money for the League of Legends World Championship 2023 is only a little over $2.2 million, which is to be split between 22 participating teams, with the champion receiving 20%, or $445,000. Moreover, the prize money for the League of Legends World Championship has remained unchanged for several years now, and at a level significantly lower than the ones prior to 2019. A similar trend is also witnessed at the International, the largest annual esports world championship for the Dota 2 title. The total prize pool for the International 2023 is only $3.38 million to be split between 20 participating teams, a huge drop from $18.93 million a year prior, and $40 million in 2021. It is because on a fundamental level, most esports tournaments are organized by the game publishers as a mechanism to promote the games to the audience. Thus, they are incentivized to keep this expense low, or even cutting it down over time, especially when the game is decreasing in popularity. In this regard, esports, unlike traditional sports, has yet to prove to be sustainable as the popularity of the game might go down. And the ecosystem around it is heavily imbalanced, with the game publisher being overpowered compared to others that are involved. In an interview on Fox Sports 1, Shark Tank investor Mark Cuban revealed that he passed the opportunity of buying a League of Legends team, for the meta of the game is changed by the publisher every 2 weeks or so. This factor makes operating an esports team more difficult, as you will have to constantly keep up with all the updates that the game publishers throw at you, which happen at a much faster pace compared to traditional sports. Speaking of game publishers, they already have plenty of their own issues to deal with. Many governments around the world are imposing stricter regulations on gaming. For example, China has initiated a crackdown on the game industry in 2019, banning children under 18 years of age from playing for more than 3 hours per week, and halting approval of new licenses. Besides, the competition in the game publishing space is becoming more intense, with more titles being released every year, which can lead to dramatically shortened lifespan for a title. As you can see in the chart, newer titles tend to rise faster in popularity, but also drop faster, in comparison to titles that have been around for some time. Some actions are being taken to make esports more sustainable. Riot Games, the publisher behind League of Legends, has introduced a salary cap, a response to inflated costs of player salaries. Under this system, teams who spend over the threshold on player salaries must pay a fee proportional to how much they overspend. It was first implemented in the Chinese League LPL in 2020, then the Korean League LCK in July 2023, and the Europe, Middle East, and Africa Region League LEC in September 2023. Yet even with this new regulation, player salary alone is still significantly higher than a team's earning potential from tournaments, not to mention other expenses. This brings us to the second way that esports organizations make money. Advertising and media. Many esports are realizing the correct business they were in and are making the transformation into media, entertainment companies. According to research from management consulting firm BCG, esports organizations are much more dependent on sponsorship money than their traditional sports counterparts, who make more money from media rights. This is due to the chicken and egg dilemma within the esports space. As we mentioned earlier, most esports tournaments are for promoting the game. Thus, it needs to reach as many people as possible, which incentivizes the game publishers to make it free to watch, which, in turn, leaves participating esports organizations without any revenue from media rights. In contrast, traditional sports tournaments organizers do not face the same constraint, as the sports themselves are popular enough with the audience. Consequently, the organizers of traditional sports tournaments can sell the media broadcasting rights to television networks or streaming platforms, sometimes for a huge fee, which will be distributed back to participating teams, explaining why traditional sports organizations, on average, are healthier than esports ones. The absence of media rights, which is a significant amount of revenue that often does not require much effort on their part, pressures esports organizations to go out and seek sponsorships more aggressively. They were able to create branded content and feed them to their fan base of both the whole team and individual players to get brand deals. If you compare the number of partners or sponsors listed on the website of an esports organization to a traditional sport one, it is very likely that the esports organizations will have many more. 2023 saw more esports organizations stepping up their advertising and media play by recruiting content creators to bolster their reach beyond the existing fan base of the esports team. Misfits Gaming, which owned esports teams competing in Call of Duty, Counter-Strike, Global Offensive, Overwatch, and a few other titles, dropped the gaming moniker from their brand to become known as only Misfits, sold off their spot in the League of Legends tournament to other team, and signed prominent creators such as Carl Jacobs, Austin Show or QT Cinderella. Another organization, Guild Esports, recently inked a partnership with digital advertising company Pixels AI, to increase the visibility of Guild Esports' homegrown video content and make it a more attractive inventory for potential advertisers. Several senior executives have said that they are more open to the view that their esports organizations are operating more like media agencies these days. Building an advertising and media arm also helps esports organizations gain a more stable revenue stream compared to tournament prize money. If a team relies on tournament prize money, then just one underperforming season can push them to the verge of bankruptcy. And as we have discussed in the previous part of this video, the meta of esports titles can change frequently, making it difficult to constantly master the game, and winning tournaments, thus, is no easy task. Meanwhile, sponsorship deals are often signed in yearly or multi-year terms, providing a longer runway for esports organizations. Andy Miller, the CEO of NRG, which owns teams competing in Counter-Strike, Global Offensive, League of Legends, and Rocket League acknowledged this in an interview, saying, "There's no denying the size of the audience or the appeal of gaming and gaming-adjacent stuff. But if it's just monetizing the pure esports aspect of it, that's very challenging." He also points to Full Squad Gaming, an umbrella of NRG for gaming-related content creators which it manages, which he disclosed that it attracts more viewership than content about its esports teams. But there is a catch to this strategy as well. While a single creator can gain huge amount of following, does not require too many types of resource to support them and often does not receive a fixed salary, which makes having them in the network and managing them for a split of their revenue makes sense. The same thing is not true about the players in the competitive teams. It is very unlikely that they can create content that captures the same level of engagement as the creators, as their specialty lies in playing the game, while they also require media production team to help with that, not to mention their exacerbated salary. This drives up the media buying cost of the players in comparison to the creators, while the ROI on them is likely to be significantly lower. As a result, esports organizations that are making the pivot to focus on advertising and media are still in the red overall, since most often have only been able to sign a few creators, which is not enough to cover the loss created by their competitive teams. The future of esports. Several senior executives of esports organizations have lamented that the lack of profitability is due to the industry being new, resulting in brands often need to be educated a lot to understand before putting their marketing budget into sponsoring their teams. This might be the single biggest misconception in the esports industry, as a handful of esports organizations can already be considered veterans. The earliest esports organizations, like SK Gaming and Black Dragons, were founded in 1997. Both T1 and Fnatic will celebrate their 20th birthday in 2024. Many brand executives who control marketing budgets today were kids who grew up playing video games and supporting esports teams. It is safe for us to conclude that unless some kind of miracle happens, otherwise esports organizations will never be profitable. More of them are waking up to this reality, which prompts them to scaling back their investments into competitive teams and players and accelerate the switch to content creation instead, which might be the only way to bring them back to the path to profitability. That is all for today's video on the business of esports organizations. If you like this video, please hit the like button, and click subscribe to the intersection. You can also support us one step further by becoming a member of our Patreon, link in the description below. Let us know what you think about esports organizations in the comment, we will be happy to discuss with you. For now, thank you and see you later in other videos.